Hello, everybody. We are live on two channels, actually. One is Savik's TV, which is an English channel, but we are also live on a Russian language channel, which is called Shuster Online. So basically, even Russian-speaking people who football, I would not say fans, but lovers, can see the preview in English language. Now, I'll start immediately from the lineups because we just appeared and I think we're official. So, and what is most interesting, of course, is, for me at least, is the English midfield. And we have Kobe Mainu starting. He's in the starting lineup. Then the defense is absolutely predictable because Walker on the right and Trippier on the left, Trippier and Guy Stones in middle of defense. So Rice and Mainu are playing in midfield. Foden, Bellingham, Saka are playing, so let's say, in the third of opponent half, and Harry Kane is a center forward. As far as Slovakia is concerned, it's a predictable lineup with their key player Lobotka in the middle. So in the middle of a midfield, they're playing 4-3-3. England is playing 4-2-3-1. Basically, that's what we see on paper. But of course, during the game, the configurations are going to change. Now, what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you something different. By the way, just to add that we have Halil Umat Meller, a Turkish referee who is going to work on this match, and I can't say I like him very much. He is sort of he's very much he follows the letter of the law, but he does not feel the spirit of the law. So it's a guy who can give very unexpected give out unexpected punishments to players who may not deserve it. Now, what I wanted to show is if we go back and we have a look at English midfield, because Gareth Southgate, English manager, he finally solved his problem, it seems, in midfield. He started with Alexander-Arnold, then the first half of the last game, Gallagher played, and the second half, Mainu. And finally, he decided that in this knockout game, because today, or you win it or you lose it, and you go home. So he decided to play Mainu, who is 19 years old. He is playing in Manchester United. Of course, he is not a super experienced player, but he is very lively. And Gareth Southgate decided that he can solve the problems in midfield. Now, let's say that in the last game, and I would like to go to the last game the moment I find the be patient with me, please, because there are two people who are doing all this broadcast. It's not that easy. So let's go to 25th of June, and see the game between England and Slovenia. That was the last game in the group, and let's have a look at how Gallagher and then Mainu played. Now I'll go to the heat map and try to show you how they played. So here we'll have a look at how Gallagher played. What positions did he cover? Now here you'll see on your screen the positions that Gallagher covered in the first half. You see, very sort of, I would not say that it's a game of a midfielder. He was a lot on the right, But he was not participating in any key actions. I mean, really, he was not covering territory. That means that he did not collaborate with that attacking line, which is probably the most. I would say that in this tournament, it is obviously the strongest attacking line you can imagine. I mean, Kane, Foden, Bellingham, and Saka. I mean, nobody has such 4 players in front. But that is Gallagher. Then Southgate substitutes Gallagher, and Mainu comes into the game. Here, that is already better, much better, because he plays more in midfield, which is very important. That means he tackles, that means he presses, and obviously plays more on the right because Declan Rice, he is more on the left. Now I'll try to show you one more thing about this game, which is passing, and we'll see that this is England. That is a passing pattern. You see, they were not really dangerous. They rarely approached the penalty box of their opponent, of Slovenia. And now we see Slovenia more or less the same pattern, more or less. I mean, not going into big details. So basically, 0-0 is an absolutely natural result in this game. Anyway, England needed to come first in a group, and it achieved its goal. It didn't show really the football that we expect from them. As far as the match with Slovenia is concerned, ball possession was 74%. 74% is the highest level of ball possession that England reached in any game, in any major tournament they participated. And nothing. The first shot on goal was performed by Gary Kane, and it was on the 30th minute of the first half. So basically, England is a team that has great players up front, but those players are not getting the balls. Maybe they don't move in the way they should be moving, but they don't get the playable balls. They don't get that possibility. If I go to Slovakia, which played on the 26th of June, their last group game, and they played against Romania, and I want to show you just one player only. It's again, I go into a heat map, just here we'll zero Slovakia, we'll zero Romania, and we'll take Lobotka. You see, this you will see now in a second. This is a real central midfielder. You see what distance he covers. You see what area he covers. In this heat map, you imagine that a lot of it is passing, and a lot of it is tackling, and a lot of it is also regulating the rhythm. I mean, again, Lobotka is a metronome. He was a metronome in Napoli with Luciano Spalletti that won Serie A, and he does exactly the same thing in Slovakia. So going back to today's game, I'll tell you a paradoxical thing. If you transplant the best player in England, Foden, the best player in Germany, Kane, the best player in Spain, Bellingham, you transplant them to the Slovakian team together with the manager, Francesco Calzona. Well, no. Francesco Calzona stays. No Southgate. I think Slovakia can reach a final. Exactly because Lobotka is there. Because I mean, it's a team. They really play as a team, and they have a very, very good playmaker. If you do the opposite and you transplant Lobotka into English into the English side, and Francesco Calzona takes the place of Gareth Southgate, I think that team will reach a final. So that is a great paradox. I would, of course, England is no doubt favorite in this game. England played with Slovakia 6 times, 5 times they won. The tradition is on their side. The prognosis is on their side. England is on a much weaker side of the table because if they win, they're going to play Switzerland. And there you have no grand teams are all on the left side of the table. If I look straight at the table, so on the left side, all the grands are there. Portugal, Spain, Germany, I mean, all of them are there. So for England, it is absolutely, necessary to win this game. If they don't, I think that it's the last game of Gareth Southgate. I can say that already starting from Euro 2020, which was played in 21, and England played a lot of its games at home, and it lost to Italy only on penalties in the final, I still found that Gareth Southgate cannot find the key to the game of his team. He can't find it. On the other hand, Ruud Gullit, who says that in the 6 top teams of the Premier League, the backbone of each team is made up of foreigners. And you don't have an English Lobotka. Rodri is playing at Manchester City, for instance, I say. Because I mentioned Rodri because Rodri, will see him later in a second game today. So, in fact, if the backbone is made up of foreigners and it's the rest of the players, they are sort of, I would not say auxiliary, but they're sort of, they're like our, like our organs, all they're sort of, they're serving the backbone. The backbone is commanding. So that is about what I want to say about England and Slovakia. I would still, of course, if I had to bet, I would bet on England, which is absolutely obvious. And, but if all of a sudden I bet on Slovakia, I could win a lot of money. Slovakia is a team. It really is a team. It's not young, average age 30. I think may be a bit tired. I think Lobotka may be a bit tired because he didn't play a very intense season in Napoli, but it was very a negative season. In Euro 24, he played all the games in a group. He's not that young himself, so maybe he's a little bit tired, but I think that in games like that, you forget it. You get on the pitch and you give all you have, and he has a lot. So then we go to the second game. The second game is, so let's say England, if it wins, it's going to play Switzerland in the quarterfinals. Switzerland is also an organized team as Slovakia is, but that we'll talk, of course, before the quarterfinals if England reaches them. The game is playing in Gelsenkirchen. I see that the weather is quite good compared to yesterday's weather in Hamburg, in Dortmund. Now, coming to the second game, we have possible lineups, possible. But you see, I would illustrate Spain, which today, they showed probably the nicest football, the sort of the most aesthetic one, and the most courageous one. But if we compare, if we take, for instance, we take yesterday's Spain, which won a lot. It won a World Cup and it won 2 European championships. We see let's say, a triangle in midfield. I'll show you in a minute. You say it was Busquets. On the left, it was Iniesta. And on the right, it was Xavi. Yeah. And this how, I don't know if you see it. Let me show it. Yeah, I think you see it. Yeah, this was the midfield triangle of Spain, previous generation. They all played in Barcelona. They knew each other very well. And of course, this triangle was the key, no doubt, to all the Spanish victories in the past. Today, the triangle looks, just remember this one, today the triangle looks a little bit different. Today, it looks like we have Pedri, we have Rodri, and we have Fabian Ruiz. Well, that's how the midfield looks. But it's a different kind of midfield. Still, it has a very good filter because Rodri is probably the best in its role today, in his role. I'll take the courage and say maybe in the world. Fabian Ruiz now is in a fabulous form. I've never seen him in Paris Saint-Germain this year as good as he is with Spain. Maybe he found a common language with Pedri and Rodri. And Pedri, a very young guy, he's 19 or 20, he is really very creative. He has a reasonably good shot. And what is another strong point of Spain, that Pedri has two fantastic wingers. Really, very young, very young. And I say that the general manager Lafuente, he really got the, well, you don't have, you need courage anyway. Lamine Yamal, who is 17, and Nico Williams is not much older, such two great wingers who can, in 1 meter, dribble 3 players. I mean, each of them. That's really sort of, it's Pedri has a lot of choice. And Morata in front. Me personally, I respect him very much because he's a very working center forward. He opens spaces for others. He scores himself. He's really a team man. You can feel it. He's a man of a team. He plays for the team. And that's very important. So Spain is extremely strong. And if we remember the game against Italy, which they have absolutely outplayed Italy, for 70 minutes, Italy didn't leave its half. So you have Cucurella on the left defensive wing, who played an absolutely great game. We'll see what is going to happen today. Carvajal, all of a sudden, who is playing the right back, all of a sudden he started scoring. He scored in the final of the Champions League. He scored in the Euros. So it's, it's Spain. If you are looking for a weak for a weak spot in Spain, maybe a little bit for central defense, maybe a little bit, but not. I mean, the team is quite uniform. As far as Georgia is concerned, well, first of all, I think that Georgia has reached its maximum. Now they're playing free. If they lose, no one is going to criticize them very harshly, because if they lose against Spain. And Spain is very strong. Maybe, from what we've seen, probably the strongest team now at this given moment in Euro 24. I don't think that Georgia can repeat the game against Portugal, which was absolutely unimportant to Portugal, but was very important to Georgia. And Kvaratskhelia, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia scored on the 2nd minute. I don't think it will happen with Spain. I really don't, because of what I have just said, because they have such a midfield and they have such a defense. He is the key player. If somehow they find a way with the Spanish to block him, but I don't think that Spain is going to think about Georgia. Spain is going to think about itself. And they are going to attack. And they are going to close Georgia in its half, just as they did with Italy. Georgia has a very, very good goalkeeper, Mamardashvili, but Italy has also a very good goalkeeper, Donnarumma. A goalkeeper is not enough. One of the defenders, key defenders, Mekvabishvili of Georgia, is disqualified, and that's a big loss in the center. But as far as the defenders on the left and on the right, Tsitiashvili and Kakabadze, I don't think the duel with Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, for them is going to be very difficult. Very difficult, not only to win, but let's say to tie. Maybe the Georgian manager, Willy Sagnol, is going to sort of create some tactical difficulties to Spain, but I really I can't imagine. I can't imagine Spain losing to Georgia, really. That would be, it would be not a sensation of today. It would be a sensation of a century. So I would, of course, bet on Spain. I find Spain great team. At least it was in the group. And saying that they beat Albania in their third match, which counted nothing, but they beat them with their second team. And Portugal played with their second team, except for Cristiano Ronaldo, who insisted on playing. They lost to Georgia 2-0. So you see the depth of a team that Spain has. It's, they can substitute, they can do tactical changes, they're very elastic, and they have, this time, they have a really, I would say, a good coach. Yeah, he adapts to his players. He does not play football that he likes. He plays football that his players like. And every player in Spain is playing in his own position. As far as Georgia is concerned, the last thing I say is I'm very happy for them that they made history. And they have now a lot of self-esteem. And basically, let's say that Europe acquired a new good national team to follow. And I hope, even if they lose with honor. And that's basically the maximum that you ask from Georgia. So that's about it. And for today, and see you tomorrow, same time, an hour before the beginning of the first match. Why an hour before beginning of first match? Because we know at least the lineups of the first match already officially. And well, tomorrow we have 2 more games. As far as, what I forgot to say is that we have the referee of the Spain-Georgia game is going to be Frenchman François Letexier. François Letexier is a very sort of, again, a young, but I don't like him very much. He gives too many yellow cards, which are not necessarily deserved. I mean, he refereed 2 games in Euro 24. He gave out 8 yellow cards. It's a lot, and his average of yellow cards is very, very high. Very high if you look at the statistics in general, where he tournaments in which he referees. So I think I said more or less everything. I think all the rest you know yourself. So see you tomorrow. Thank you very much to those who were with us.